Hi, I'm Phil Dispenza, and this is Collecting, Investing, or Somewhere in Between. I'm excited to bring you the Bronze Age of Marvel Comics, and I expect this video is going to be rather long. Like I've mentioned in the introduction and stuff, I'm going to be bringing you a lot of information. And Marvel Comics in the Bronze Age has uh, a lot of uh, investment potentials. Some are already proven and just keep going up. Others, possibly, they're undervalued and stuff. So I have a huge list, and I mean a huge list. I also have a huge stack of books. And what I'm presenting to you, I don't necessarily own every single book, every one of these. In fact, I couldn't even find a couple of titles because I didn't collect a lot of Marvel in the Bronze Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age. But I'm going to bring you samples of the title. If I have that particular issue, or maybe I have, one of the 5 issues I'm going to recommend, then I'll do that. Sorry, I have to scratch my nose. And of course, it's Sunday morning, and I might as well drink a little water. I'm going to be drinking a lot of water. So this video might be rather long because I have no clue. 100 issues that I'm going to recommend for you to invest in. And again, investing purposes, I'm going with at least $100 raw for high grade copies. So if you get 9.4, 9.6, 9.8s, you might be breaking 1,000 on them. So these are my recommendations and why they're my recommendations. So of course I'm going to start with, and I'm going to go in alphabetical order. I'm starting with superhero, and I got my stack here. At one point I'm going to pause a little, and I'll explain when I reach that part, because I got to switch to a previously recorded video. But I'm going to grab a stack and start off with what I recommend. So we're starting with Amazing Spider-Man. The first book I do recommend is 100. I only grabbed 3 Spider-Mans. Tilt it wrong. Okay. Trying to get this thing perfect. Let me put it a little closer. Amazing Spider-Man 100. This is my own personal copy, and it looks to be pretty nice. I'd have to have it pressed, but I wouldn't doubt I can get in the 9s on this one. It's anniversary issue. It's key. People like it. Again, anytime you hit a milestone, usually it's, especially back then, it's good recommendation. The second book I had, and I have no clue, I mentioned, I think, how a lot of my graded books vanished during the move, and I haven't found them yet. But again, I got, behind me, you'll see all these comics. I just went through for the past month. I know the video is a little delayed, a lot of stuff, but I just went through almost my entire stock. And these are my own 6 personal boxes right here of other things. But I just went through, I have at least maybe 6 long boxes now worth of 60s and 70s duplicates, just mixed. So I got to go a lot of stuff. So I don't have my Amazing Spider-Man 101. It's the first appearance of Morbius. It's been graded. If I remember right, it was an 8.5. I didn't look up the value, but that's a K. You get that in high, mid 9s or something. You talk a few thousand, 9.8. I don't know, several thousand. But I do have the second appearance of Morbius, which I didn't get graded. Again, out of my personal collection, is Amazing Spider-Man 102. So this whole thing, Spider-Man gets 6 arms, like Doc Ock, and that storyline goes for a while. I don't own anymore the Spider-Man 121, Death of Gwen Stacy. You know, you got Spider-Gwen, all this universes and stuff. But this is the original death of Gwen Stacy. It was a key, even back then. And the reason why I say that is because my brother was collecting the Amazing Spider-Mans, and then I acquired his collection. But at the time, he paid $15 for this book. And you're talking 85, 86. And the book after it, Amazing Spider-Man 122, also The Death of the Green Goblin, Norman Osborn. He also paid $15 for that. And actually, both of those turned out to be restored with some color touch. What else do I have there? 124. This first Man Wolf. I have a couple of other books with Man Wolf later, but that's a key. It's gone up there, and it might be worth, if you could still get it for a reasonable price, acquiring it. Then I got 134. Oh, I skipped. I skipped 129. Another one I have missing. I had it graded. That also was an 8.5. And that thing in 8.5, I haven't looked it up in the past month or something, but I think was about 2,500, 3,000. So it's another book that's super key. First Punisher. Then I have 134, which is Tarantula, first Tarantula, another character that might be key, or should be key. He's been in Spider-Man's life for a while. I pulled out 135, which I think is the second Punisher, if I remember. Yeah, it says Return of the Punisher. Again, for some reason, I didn't put it on my... Oh, no, I did put it on my list. 129 and 135. First and second appearance of Punisher. This, again, my personal copy. This looks like it's not perfect. It's got creases and stuff, but again, I get, my brother probably bought that, and you get what you can for whatever money you have. 149. If you remember, this book climbed, and it's holding its values. I think it started at 148. Was the Clone Saga, the original Clone. And then when they brought in the whole clone things in the 90s, these books shot up. 149 was always key. I didn't pull it out because I could barely reach my Spider-Man box, so I only pulled out those 3 books. What else is there? 194. This is still in the realm of the Bronze Age. So the Bronze Age, I didn't mention. I don't think I mentioned, but with this Bronze Age, I'm gonna go maybe into 69 because I said between 70 to 80. I'm doing 80s, 1980s by themselves, but 69 up until maybe 80. I might include an 80. I might include a 69, but I'm encompassing it in the Bronze Age because. If a title began in 69, even late 69, then, there's a reason to do it. But 194, I think my 194 was a 9.4. It had a couple of issues with it. It was graded again. I can't find it. But that's the first appearance of the Black Cat. That book has been rising, on a, on a monthly basis. What else do I have written here? Giant Size 1. Giant Size Spider-Man #1, again, key book. It's giant size, so a lot of those square bounds are worth money in high grade because you open it up and you get that reader's crease right off the bat. Giant Size 4, that's third Punisher. I thought I wrote that. Again, it's my card is a little distant from here. I didn't pull that one out of the box either. With the Giant Size Spider-Man 4, first Punisher, the third Punisher, another key book, third Punisher, square bound. So if you can get that in high grade, that's also a recommended one. So I'm moving on to Amazing Adventures. The #1, and I think I had a copy. I'm not too sure what happened to it. Is the Inhumans with Black Widow. It's a key book of the series, of the first issue of the series. And then I have this. I just pulled this one out. It's Amazing Adventure 17, and the reason why I just pulled this one out, it's the Blue Beast, and in number 11, that's the one. It's issue 11. I pulled this one out just to give you a sample because I sold the 11 a while, years ago. when I picked up this one collection. I had all the issues of the Beast. But this is the origin of the Beast. But 11 is the first appearance of Beast in Beast form. So that's always been a key. We move on to Astonishing Tales. Now, number 1 is the first issue, of course, and it features Kazar and Dr. Doom. I don't have a 1, so I pulled out a 4. It still shows Kazar and Dr. Doom. Number 6, I think, still is... It stays for a while of Kazar and Doom. The first Bobby Morse, I guess, has Bobby Morse, who is Mockingbird. And we'll talk about Mockingbird a little later, I believe. Unless she's the 80s when she dons the costume. But that's her first appearance. Astonishing Tales number 6. 21, I listed. I have it personally. I don't know where it is. Living Colossus. That book's been seeing some activity. So another book recommended. So everything I'm giving you now is recommended to invest in. Like I said, there's so many titles, and that's what you're going to see in the Bronze Age. And I mentioned this in the intro. There's a ton, and I mean a ton of new series, new titles that came out. So 21, first Living Colossus, and then it's 25. Yeah, I don't have a 25. I have a 28. Is Deathlock. So if you have Astonishing Tales 25, that's the one that you want to get graded. You want to purchase in high grade. Avengers, I just randomly pulled an issue because I'm not an Avengers collector. I think most of the Avengers that I had owned were destroyed in the fire. So I might have had some of these, but I'm going to just read off the card. 80, Avengers 80, first Red Wolf. So these are all key characters or key appearances. Avengers 83. I'm going to try to keep this quick because there's so many books and this video is going to be long. 83 is the first Liberators. 85, the first Squadron Supreme. 87 is the origin of the Black Panther, which I'll show you in a second, Mr. Black Panther. 93, Neil Adams cover and art. Neil Adams starts doing the Avengers. So the issues with Neil Adams, of course, a lot of 70s stuff with Neil Adams is key right now. And we'll talk about that in a future episode with Batman. 115, first Mantis. My mouth is getting dry. 144. So if you want to start taking notes, write them down, so you don't have to go back. I can't decide. I just saw the light behind me. Everybody keeps saying it's the ghost. I don't know if cars are driving by. I don't hear them. And they're reflecting the window, but I don't know. The curtain's closed. So who knows if it's the ghost. 144 is the first Hellcat, Patsy Walker. And then, of course, I wrote down Giant Size 1. You're going to see a lot of the Giant Size. If I don't mention them, Giant Size books, again, probably, if you can get them in high grade, just buy them up and get them slabbed, because Giant Size books in high grade, again, stuff is out there. I mentioned before, there's warehouses, warehouse stock, and I'll mention that when I get to some of these books, that, there's quantities out there. But again, and not just because there's a warehouse stock doesn't mean it's 9/8 condition, and we'll discuss that. So, Black Panther. My Black Panther 1 is another MIA book. I think it was a 9.4 or 9.6. But I'm going to just show you a random issue of Black Panther so you get an idea of the title. So, Black Panther, number 1, another key book, is the first issue of his series. Captain America, again, my stock burned in the truck. I just randomly pulled out a Captain America. This is 169. But the 2 issues you want to try to get is 180, when Steve Rogers becomes Nomad, and 217, which is the first Marvel Boy. And if you don't know who Marvel Boy is, that's Kazar. and everybody laughs, when some of these titles used to come out. But now all of a sudden everybody wants this stuff. I don't have, and I don't know why I can't find, because I have other issues of it. Maybe I am missing a box, another box I just pulled out, and I didn't go through. Is Captain Marvel, when Captain Marvel got his own series, the Thanos issues, which are 25 through 28. You definitely want to grab those Jim Starlin issues of Captain Marvel with Thanos. Champions, again, I pulled out number 3. I don't have the first issue. But Champions, I recommend number 1. And again, first issue of a series, they just kept putting them out. And you have the key characters in here. I don't even know who's in the Champions. I see Hercules, looks like Black Widow, Ghost Rider, which we'll talk about Ghost Rider because that's crazy. I do have this. This was, I put it creatures, but it's giant-sized creatures. And it has Werewolf by Night. Definitely a key because this is the first, I think it's the first Tigra. And I actually have 2 copies of this besides my own. I have 2 extra ones. This one's beat. But again, a beat copy loose, you might get $10-15 and you might find it in a dollar bin. So, investment wise, high grade, get it graded, buy the ones in the 9s, 9.4, 9.6, 9.8, and that'll turn a pretty penny for you if you could find it for a reasonable price. But again, a key thing, even lower grades, again, you find these in a dollar box, you can make 10, 15, 20 times your money sometimes. And, they say, oh, it's $1, you're only making $15. Yeah, well, if you get 20 books at $1 and then you get 20 books at $15, that's $300. You just turn 20 into $300. So for the little guy, if you know what you're doing, you can make money. You don't have to make $1,000 at every sale, because it adds up. And this is how I actually finance myself. For the next few titles, I don't have samples. I don't know why I don't have a Daredevil. Again, it probably just went up in smoke on the burning truck. But I have Daredevil. Is that an 81 or an 89? I'm going to pull my card here. I think it's 81. I write everything in black marker, so it's bigger. It's the Black Widow begins in the title, so that's a good issue to get. 105 is the origin of Moondragon, another character whose interest has increased over the past few years. 111, First Silver Samurai. What else do I have? 132. Now, this is probably one of the best books of Daredevil to have, especially in the 70s, is the first appearance of Bullseye. Of course, you remember, I think it was Colin Farrell. Is it Colin Farrell who played Bullseye in the movie, if I can remember right? And then, let me see what this says. Oh, 158. Frank Miller. First Frank Miller Daredevil. And notice I'm not getting into the 80s, so we'll talk about future Frank Miller Daredevils when I hit the 1980s. So 158, of course, Frank Miller begins on Daredevil. You want to get that book. That's definitely a key. The Defenders. I didn't pull Defenders for some reason. I had a Marvel Feature 1, which I'll talk later because I'm not up to M. I'm going in alphabetical order. But Defenders 1, of course, first issue of the series. I have 10 written, which is Thor and Thing, key issue. People like that issue. 28, first full appearance of Starhawk. And then I put Giant Size 3, which is the first Corval, if I'm pronouncing that right. Corval, Korval. And that's probably something where, again, it's a giant size, so it's going to be difficult to find in high grade sometimes, most of the time. But it's a character that I personally don't know, but maybe that's why you want to grab it before it goes through the roof, if it ever goes through the roof. I put Doctor Strange #1. It's the first issue of the series. I didn't pull it aside. Like I have it buried somewhere in my boxes. You know, my Marvels are against the wall, and there's a whole row of other long boxes in front of it. And then I have these red boxes were in the way. I had to actually move them back. Here's something that's gone like super, super high. They just keep climbing. And the Eternals. And I'm going to show you Eternals 1 and 2. They are the keys to have because of the, I don't know if it's the movie, TV show, something's been talked about. But this is a 1 that's also high grade. When I was moving and clearing out one of my storages, emptying out to get rid of it, and I was going through comics, I found I had like 3 extra copies of that. I had like 2 copies of this, Eternals 2. The one, and we'll discuss them a little later, or I could discuss it now. But if you look online, Eternals, there are quantity. You look at a census, quantity of copies of the regular copy and the 30-cent variant. I mean, but the book keeps climbing. It was steady at like about a 9.8, I think it was about 1,000. It's gone up. For the regular issue, the 30 cents is probably just slightly more. Fantastic Four, moving on. 112, Hulk versus Thing, black cover. That is, again, always been a key. When I had my store in the 90s, that was a key. In the 80s, it was a key. That book was always selling. Why? Because it's a black cover, and try to find them in high grade. Don't mind me, I'm looking at my card. 120. It's Gabriel. What did I write after that? The Airwalker. And of course, I actually have this book. It's the only Fantastic Four on the list that I have in stock. Again, all I could keep saying is up in smoke, on the truck, burned. I lost pretty much my entire, not the vintage, because I had separated out 60s stuff, but I lost like all the 70s, 80s, 90s of Marvel. I lost 17 long boxes. My store stock had to be at least 5 or 6 of just Marvel at the time, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. So the first appearance of Gabriel the Airwalker. 121 to 123, I wrote Silver Surfer, Galactus. Silver Surfer I mentioned in the Silver Age, Galactus in the Silver Age. It's gotten crazy, especially Galactus, even 80s books. The interest in Galactus is incredible. So 121 through 123 is definitely recommended. Get them in high grade. Hold on to them. I have giant size #4 for Fantastic Four. I can't read what I wrote. First Madrox. So again, with the giant size, I'm going to keep saying the same thing over and over. Moving on. I have Fear. Yes, I'm in Fear. No, Fear. Adventures into Fear. Plain old Fear. 19 is the first Howard the Duck. Did I write this down? I don't know if I wrote it down, but I did write it down. Fear. 19 first Howard the Duck, and then I do have that, but again, it's in my collection. It's buried, but I did have an extra copy of this, which is 20. It's another one I think is a great potential investment. It's always been hot because of Morbius. It's the first Morbius in the title, and he runs several issues with Morbius. I need more water. Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider 1, again, a black cover. I don't have the Ghost Rider. There's only 2 issues I put down anyway. Another book that's been shooting through the roof. I mean, I have a couple of Ghost Riders, but I never cared for Johnny Blaze. I was just not a Johnny Blaze fan. So I never pursued buying Ghost Rider, which I'll get into in few minutes. But number 2, what did I write here exactly? First full Hellstorm, Damien Hellstorm, son of Satan. There's a lot of words there. I didn't know. I knew what it was, but I wanted to read exactly what it was. So they started crossing over. You'll see that, and I'll cover that in a few minutes. Marvel Features with the Son of Satan started crossing over with the Ghost Rider. The story was continuing back and forth between the titles. Hero for Hire 1, Luke Cage, another black cover. A few years ago, 9/8, I think, sold for like $55,000. I can't imagine what it would sell for today. I haven't looked to see if there were any recent sales. So Hero for Hire, I see it all the time. It's prime for color touch. Black cover. I see that book, grade that book all the time, and there's tons out there with color touch. So you have to beware. When you're looking for color touch, bleed through is easy. You open up the cover, you can just see through black markers and stuff. But watch for the pen. People will use like black ink, and when you tilt the book, you'll see like a little sheen in the creases and the spindings and stuff. So be wary. If you're suspicious that a book has color touch, and this is any book or any restoration, don't buy it unless you get it real cheap. That's a different story. You find it in a dollar box, it doesn't matter if it has color touch. It'll still be worth money. But, if you're going to pay $300 for a copy of something, make sure if you think it has any type of restoration, don't buy it. So move on to Howard the Duck. I just mentioned him. First appearance in Fear number 19. Number 1, of course, I actually don't have, but I had several Howard the Duck issues. In a lot I bought, warehouse lot, but there were later issues, 10 or whatever, 8, 6. But number 1, of course, first issue of the title. 12 and 13 is Kiss, and if you always remember the whole controversy, there's blood in the ink, the red ink. This is a high-grade copy. I mean high-grade. I put it at an 8.5 of 13, of course, featuring Kiss. So, key book. So, again, find 12, 13, and 9/8. Definitely worth getting. All right, moving on. Human Torch, number 1. What did I write? Reprint Strange Tales 101. Strange Tales 101 from the Silver Age is the first Human Torch in the title. That book has gotten crazy price-wise. So if you want to read a reprint that's a reasonable price, I actually have 2 copies of this. This is one of them. If you look, there's a $2 price tag. This is one of those boxes I bought. Warehouse box, probably paid, I don't know, $20 for the whole box. And so $2 price tag. I didn't even grade this. Again, I buy the boxes and I just sit there. I never go through. You pull out a title or an issue or something. If you have 20 of an issue, you're only going to try to sell one at a time. Unless you decide to bulk out like I did with the Battlestar Galactica, which I'll talk in a little while. Invaders. I'm skipping. Sorry. Hulk. I just randomly pulled a Hulk. This is right out of my collection. And the reason why I randomly pulled a Hulk is because I don't own, and they would be buried anyway, but I don't own the key books. All right. 141, Doc Samson. That book has gone pretty high. Is it 162? Yep. Wendigo. 162. And of course, 180, 181, and 182. 181 is my number 1 recommendation if you could ever find this thing at a reasonable price. And I say that because 0.5s, incomplete, missing stuff, ripped apart, are still selling for $400 or $500. I don't understand it. There's copies out there. I mean, how many have been graded? I'm trying to think of how many have been graded by now. 13,000, 14,000. and there's no shortage. But that book has just gone, call it viral. So the people just have to have it. So Hulk 181, number one on the most recommended Bronze Age Marvel list if you can afford it. We'll talk about the thing like the Punisher, the Amazing Spider-Man 129. Again, that's probably top 5 key book. Okay, moving on. Inhumans 1, I recommended it. I actually have an extra copy. I don't collect Inhumans, so I did have a copy in my stock. So Inhumans 1 recommended to get graded. Invaders. I had an Invaders 1 at one point. I sold it, so I'm just showing you a random issue of Invaders. Invaders 1 and the annual one. Again, annuals are giant size. Annuals also square bound usually. Thicker, more pages and things. So let's see. Iron Fist. Iron Fist 1, another key book. First issue of the title. 14. When people were asking me, do you have any recommended books to purchase? And these were reasonable at the time, within the past couple of years. I suggested Iron Fist 14. I think that book is way undervalued. And now it's starting to heat up like every other book. I mean, it's gone crazy. You can't pick a book without paying through the roof. But first appearance of Sabretooth, Wolverine's main foe. You saw how many issues of that came out, especially in the 90s. Wolverine versus Sabretooth, Wolverine versus Sabretooth, Wolverine versus Sabretooth. So the first appearance of Sabretooth, I actually have the second appearance, which also includes the X-Men, is Iron Fist 15. So 14's good. I mean, awesome. 15, again, is probably, you could probably get this at a reasonable price and make a pretty profit, hold it maybe 5 years or something. I wrote Jungle Action 5 and 6, Black Panther. It's the first Black Panther in this title is 5. I believe that's a reprint. 6 is the first Eric Killmonger. And again, if you saw the movie, you know who that is. Who's him? Who's him, as the Cowardly Lion would say. All right. I'm just pulling stacks so I can keep moving on. Iron Man. I don't know, again, Up in Smoke. I don't have any Iron Man Bronze Age books. None. Or I couldn't find any. So let me see what I have written here. 43, First Guardian. 47 is an origin issue, so that's key. 54, First Moondragon. I mentioned the Avengers origin of Moondragon. Definitely a good one. 55, again, top 5 keys of the Bronze Age Marvels. First Thanos, and that's another book that I just see tons and tons and tons of. So there's no shortage of these books. And just always remember that. There's no shortage. But again, how many people are in the world? If you have 8 billion people in the world and say you only have 2 million fans, but there's only 20,000 copies, out of the 2 million fans, maybe you have 200,000 who might like Thanos. 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 My brain's starting to not work. So, the supply to the amount of collectors out there, maybe it is true that, if there was 500,000 copies, nobody would want it. But even then, it's gotten so stupid with some of these investment things. 118, first Jim Rhodes. Of course, he becomes Iron Man, then becomes War Machine. So that's his first appearance. You definitely want to grab that. And 128, and this book has always been of interest since the 80s, probably even earlier, but since I started comics, is the alcoholism issue. So that's always like a good book to grab. I put Logan's Run on here. I'll cover that, I think, did I put that in the sci-fi? I think I might have put one in the sci-fi, but Logan's Run number 6. I have this whole, I think it only ran, did it run 6 issues or 7? I think it's 6. I have the whole thing because I always loved Logan's Run. I love that movie. But Logan's Run 6 has Thanos in it, and I think it's a backup story. And that book is more valued than the rest of the issues, of course. A lot higher in value. I wrote Man-Thing 1 from 74. I just randomly grabbed an issue of Man-Thing. I don't have a 1. I have 1. Make sure you know what you're doing, because the Man-Thing, I think 1 is also 20 cents. But they not re-released, but they released a volume 2, I believe in 79, which I have in the back. That's not worth anything. So when you see Man-Thing 1, make sure it's a 20-cent price, cover price, and not the 40-cent price. Marvel Chillers, again, I just randomly pulled one out. It's the first issue that I'm recommended. I have the Tigra. Again, I'm trying to give you investments because there's so many on this list of things that should be worth hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, or way higher. But don't underestimate some of these issues when a character first shows up. This is 6. I think it might be 5 when she first shows up. But number 1 is Mordred the Mystic. And you would think, and I have this, I have no clue. I thought I had multiples of these. I have no idea where the extras are. But this book has been going up insanely. And I'm not too sure why. I don't know if these showed up in a TV show or something, but I think it's crazy. So we're up to Marvel Feature. Marvel Feature 1, of course. I said I had the Defenders. I sold it. I think it wasn't a high grade copy. It's like mid grade, fine plus or something. It's worth about 100 loose, like raw, and it went. So I was happy with that. Number 4, which I actually do have, has Ant-Man in the story, in the title. So this is actually a key. It's a reintroduction to Ant-Man. Prior, it's not Scott Lang. It's prior to Scott Lang. So this is a key book. And then I'm trying to see if that's a 10 or 11, because I definitely don't have this book. 11, Thing versus Hulk. Anytime you have the Hulk versus the Thing or whatever, there's always keys. Thor versus Hulk or whatever, Submariner versus Thor, whatever it is. When superheroes battle, people want to collect it. So Marvel Feature number 11 is another, get it high grade, get it graded, and sit on it for a little while. Marvel Premiere. I pulled out only one book, but there's a few on the list. Number 1 was Warlock. I actually had this book, and it was beat. I mean, I think it had a chunk out of it. And I still, like 7 or 8 years ago, I got $10 for it. And when I talk about a chunk, I'm talking about like a nice size piece out of the cover. But it's first Warlock in the title. Number 3, and these have been jumping, are the Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange Begins. And the reason why I want to mention this is that this is in between the Doctor Strange series that continued from Strange Tales 169 to 183, and Doctor Strange number 1, where he gets his own title. So I'm actually missing a couple of these. I didn't realize, or for some reason I just never bought them. But these Marvel premieres, 3 is the first Doctor Strange in the title. So that one is, of course, the highest recommendation. 15, and I'm just going to bring this one out. 15, of course, is Iron Fist. Actually, I have this on the list too. But Marvel Premiere 15, first Iron Fist. When he was on the TV shows, that book just shot to the roof, and so did other keys. This is first Colleen Wing, which is number 19. I think I have more than one copy of this because, again, nobody cared about Iron Fist too much 10 years ago, 8 years ago, whatever. So this was sitting in stock box, and I have it, and now it's worth some money. 28, which I don't have handy, which is the Legion of Monsters, and I'm trying to think of who is exactly in that. I know Ghost Rider's in that, Morbius is in it, Man-Thing is in it, and I think there might have been another one or two characters. But that issue I actually have, and again, it's buried in my collection. But it's got, that's another book that's really shot up a lot. 47, as I mentioned, the old Ant-Man reintro. 47 is first Scott Lang as Ant-Man, and that book, it was, again, before the movies with that introduced him. That book was probably, you could probably find it in a dollar box, and now that's one of the keys that you want to grab and grade. Marvel Spotlight. Again, just going in order of title versus characters. Marvel Spotlight 5, 4 known, 9.8 graded on the census. I believe one copy just sold. I'm trying to think of how much it was. Was it 300,000? It was an insane amount of money. 260,000. I don't remember. But again, black cover, hard to be, next to impossible to find. You find copies of the book out there all the time. Again, everything's plentiful in the 70s. But is it worth that kind of money? I mean, you could buy Fantasy 15 at a decent grade for that money. Spider-Man 1. I mean, there's a lot of other choices that you could purchase. Yeah, I find it insane. But Marvel Spotlight 5, first Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider, so recommended. 12, and I don't have 12 here. I have all of these in my collection. The Marvel Spotlight with the Son of Satan. Number 12, of course, is the origin. What did I write? Oh, second appearance of Son of Satan, because I mentioned Ghost Rider 2. And this is where they bounce back and forth between here and Ghost Rider. Marvel Spotlight and Ghost Rider were bouncing back and forth story-wise. I pulled this issue because I didn't have a 28 handy. Marvel Spotlight 28 is the first solo Moon Knight. Moon Knight is super hot, and I mean super hot. So this is the issue right after it, 29. So I just pulled it out because I had it. And then 32, which is another one of my MIA. I have a 9.6 Marvel Spotlight 32, which is the first Spider-Woman. So that's another one I believe, has pretty like black cover and things. So is it that difficult to get 9.8s? I think they're out there. All right. Marvel Team Up. Marvel Team Up 1 through 4. Recommended. Human Torch, Morbius. Number 4 is X-Men. I have a 2 here. But 1 through 4, you definitely want to grab. And then 65 I have written. I sold. I mean, I have this entire run. This is one of the runs I actually completed. Probably one of the first large runs I ever completed in the 1980s. Was the Marvel Team Up run. It ran for 150 issues plus the 7 annuals. So it's 157 issues. And as a collection, it's great because you're exposed, it's like the Marvel Toon ones, you're exposed to a whole bunch of characters. And sometimes they're goofy. I think they had the Saturday Night Live crew. I forgot exactly. I don't want to butcher it. But I have tons and tons of duplicates of Marvel Team-Ups. But Marvel Team Up 1 through 4. And then 65 is first Captain Britain in the U.S. And I'm going to cover magazines. I'm going to talk about magazines because I don't have the few magazines I have no idea where they are. What else do I have here? Marvel 2-in-1. I just mentioned. Number 1. I don't have. I didn't feel like just bringing out a sample. I'll just throw it out there. Marvel 2-in-1. Number 1. First Thing crossover in his, getting his own little title where he teams up with a whole bunch of other characters. That ran quite a few issues. I don't even know. Master of Kung Fu. The issue you want to get, what did I write? First issue of title. Oh, number 17. I just randomly pulled one out. Most of these are pretty worthless. I mean, I purchased a collection I mentioned when I was showing you. Actually, I think I did show in my Deals and Steals the Marvel Feature 1. So you can see that. But I have, well, especially the later issues. I probably had like 50 or 60 issues of this in that purchase that I had just made a few months ago. What else do I have here? Miss Marvel. Okay. I just randomly pulled an issue of Miss Marvel. The issues you want to get, this is number 3. Number 1, of course, first issue in the title. And then 16 through 18, what did I write there? Mystique. So you have your first appearance of Mystique, your cameo, first full appearance. So 16 through 18 is Mystique in the title. So you want to grab that. Nova, I have a ton of Novas. The only one recommended, of course, is number 1. It's gone through the roof. That book was absolute trash. The titles, I mean, I call trash because nobody cared about Nova. And the reason why I say that is because this book, along with a ton of others, notice it says $1 on it, was in one of those boxes I bought for like $10 back 20 years ago. And I mean, I have, I don't know, 60 issues of Nova between this and the last, 2 through 3 through whatever. I did have ones in there too, at least one, maybe 2. And again, I sold it a long time ago and I didn't get much. I'm lucky I got $5 or $10. But now Nova 1, $1,000. It's like, it's crazy. Power Man. I just randomly pulled out a Luke Cage Power Man. Another title that almost all the issues you could find. I love the smell of old comics. It's not even boarded. But again, another title nobody cared about. So the issues of Power Man you want to pick up for investment purposes. 17 is the first issue of the title when I switched from Hero for Hire. What did I write here? Is that 21, 24, I think it says. You might have to double check me on that one. The first Black Goliath. I think that's a very undervalued book. All he has to do is show up in a TV show or something, and that book will triple in a month. So you probably want to grab that one. And then 66, what did I write? 66, 78, and 84 are all issues with Sabretooth. So again, I've mentioned Sabretooth with the Iron Fist 14. I'm looking to see what I have here. So Sabretooth issues, grab them. They should be rather inexpensive. Find them in high grade, get them graded if they're not already graded, or again, it's something I would recommend to sit on 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and somewhere along the line, hopefully these books will jump in value. I have no clue how long this. 47 minutes. Wow. Okay, this thing's running over an hour. You know what? I'm going to stop it here. Let me. You know what? I'll finish the superhero, then I'll stop it, and then I'll do a part 2. I'll record it right now. It doesn't matter, but I'll end this video because I thought that this would run an hour, but it looks like it's going to run maybe a lot more than an hour. So I'm just going to stop it after the superheroes. So Son of Satan 1, I've mentioned with Marvel Spotlight. I didn't pull out a Son of Satan. I didn't have a one handy to show. Again, it's buried in my collection. So Son of Satan number 1, first issue of the title, definitely one to invest in. Special Marvel edition, and I don't have any of these, is 15 and 16. And it's a weird title. It's like, for some reason, I never can remember this title, but it's the first Master of Kung Fu, Shang-Chi. So first and second issue, first and second appearance. So Marvel Special Edition 15 and 16. Spider-Woman 1, again, it's the first issue of her title. Find it high grade, get it graded, or buy it. Spidey Super Stories. Why did I skip that? Somehow I skipped something. Oh, Spectacular Spider-Man. That's what I'm looking at. All right, I just randomly pulled out. Is another title that is one. I think it was on issue 90. It was like right around the black costume when I started buying these. Another title that I finished the entire thing. I paid $3.75 for my number 1. Again, it's buried. So I Pulled out of 3. There's only two issues that I actually recommend. Is number 1, of course, because it's the first issue of the series, and 27, which is the first Miller Daredevil. So that book's always been hot. Again, there's certain titles or certain issues that have been hot from day one or within the past like a year or two of release, and that was always one of them. So I remember paying a little more for it. Now I have Spider-Woman 1. I got a 2. So Spider-Woman 1. I don't know why I skipped Spectacular Spider-Man. Spidey Super Stories. I just pulled out number 3. I do have, and this is from the Electric Company. These, again, were books where you would find them constantly in a $1 bin or cheaper, 50-cent bin. I have a good chunk of them, and it's tough to find them. Now you might. I'm probably paying $5 a piece. This one's missing a chunk out of the back cover. It doesn't matter. This is number 3. This isn't part of my collection. This is a duplicate. But Spidey Super Stories number 1, another great investment book. Let's see what's on the list here. Strange Tales. Why did I write 169? Oh, Brother Voodoo. I'm thinking of Doctor Strange 169. Strange Tales 169. It's another book that I'm seeing tons of come out of the woodwork, and the book is rising in value. So 169, Brother Voodoo. 178 is a Warlock in the title. Again, Warlock's been really hot. And then 180, Gamora, first appearance of Gamora. And of course, from Guardians of the Galaxy. Submariner, I just randomly pulled out a Submariner book. So I'm going to try to get through this in the next 8 minutes, the rest of these superheroes. Submariner. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to... Actually, that's what I'll probably do, too. I'm going to tag on the Giant Size X-Men. Submariner, let's see, I just got sidetracked. 50, First Name Marita. I don't have it. You definitely probably want to grab that. And then 59, Submariner versus Thor. I mentioned those heroes fighting each other issues. So that's a nice key. Again, Submariner started in the late 60s. I had cracked my neck there. So I'm not recommended 1 and stuff because I already did that. Supervillain Team Up. I have a 2 here. And it's Submariner and Doctor Doom. But the issue, of course, you want is number 1. First issue of the series. Thor, I just randomly pulled out a Thor 254. Let me hold that there. There's only 1 issue of Thor I have written there. Is number 225 from the Bronze Age, which is the first Fire Lord. What else do I have here? 2001: A Space Odyssey. I've had duplicates of this book in the past, and it's the first Machine Man, and I think that book, I just find it, I think it's known as X-51 in the issue, but it's technically the first Machine Man. I have a feeling if you love Machine Man, and I had the miniseries from the 80s and stuff, so I actually have I don't know if I have every Machine Man issue. Actually, I probably have most of them, but 2001 Space Odyssey number 8, science fiction, out of the superhero realm, but definitely you want to grab that one. Warlock, you want the first issue of Warlock. I just randomly pulled a Warlock issue. And anything with Thanos, that's the big thing. I put down What If number 1. I didn't bother pulling What Ifs from the 70s. What If number 1's with the Spider-Man issue. It's the first issue of the title. And then 10, which I sold because, again, these were another run of books that I just picked up in a $10 or a $20 box that nobody wanted. Jane Foster as Thor. And, of course, when she did become Thor, that book shot through the roof, even though it's a What If. So 1 and 10 for What If. Here's the biggie. And this is my pride and joy. It is mine. And I'm going to take it out of the bag. Werewolf by Night, 32. My copy's a 9.2. And when I got this graded 7 months ago, it was valued at about $2,000. The last two sales in this, I think it's this month, the last two sales on this book, first appearance of Moon Knight, hot, 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 in that grade, were $8,700 and $9,000. So I'm putting this as also a top 5, because if that's, it's going to be a $10,000 book soon in 9.2. So what is it going to be in 9.8? 50,000, 70,000? It's gone crazy. But people love Moon Knight. He's supposed to get his own TV show. So 32, and then 33, of course, his second appearance. 37, the third appearance. So those are the 3 books in Werewolf by Night, featuring Moon Knight. I'll cover monsters, like horror stuff later in the second part of this episode. And then Uncanny X-Men. I have written 94 through 94, of course, is key. 94 through 128. I have 128 here, so I'll just show you that. Any of these books, any of them. John Byrne stuff is crazy in high grade. Any of them. 94s, you could get low grade. I see it all the time with Color Touch. And I have special written the 1 and 2. I don't even know what that is. I don't remember. And then a Giant Size X-Men 1 and 2. And I'm going to cut this here. I'm going to throw in I had previously recorded, because I had a copy that was graded that wasn't mine, and I had to bring it to the owner. So I recorded this a few weeks ago, just so I could show you a nice graded copy, and I discuss it then. So end of part 1. Besides whatever I'm about to tack on with the Giant Size X-Men clip, like, share, subscribe, and as I always say, tell your friends and family. And part 2 will be coming up. I'm going to release it next week, but I'm going to record it right now. So see you then. I have to record this section of the Marvel Bronze Age because I'm about to lose this book. It's not mine, so I am giving it back. And I haven't recorded the rest of the Bronze Age Marvels. So what I consider the second most important investing book to invest in, rather, Giant Size X-Men '1. I figured I'd show you a real copy. This book literally at the beginning of December was about $1,500 in 6.0, 55, 6.0, somewhere around there. And sales have actually, there's one that actually broke 5,000. A lot of sales right now are high 4,000s, 4,800, 4,900. So in 6 months, it's climbed considerably. And again, it's one of these books, just like the other ones we'll be covering, either before this section or after, because like I said, I'm recording this out of order, of a key that is definitely a great investment potential. So we'll move on.